Holy shit.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, Mark. There's no other way. We need you. The time for war is upon us.
The new and improved Nolan is back on Earth, back with his family, back with everybody. I can't wait. I can't wait to see everybody's reaction to Nolan appearing on Earth. Debbie, Cecil, Oliver? Like, what? And of course, Mark. Of course, we want to see Mark's reaction to seeing his father once again, especially after expressing in this episode that he thinks his father is dead or most likely dead. And Nolan is already making his case that he's new and improved. Yes, he was like, okay, Mark, you need to come with us. War is upon us, you know, all of that. But the first words he said was, I'm sorry, Mark. Before he said anything else, I'm sorry, Mark. That's massive improvement. Seriously, because back in season 2, I made a whole dedicated video on how Nolan is a master manipulator and how he never apologized for anything he did on Earth back in season 1. But the fact that now the first thing that came out of his mouth is I'm sorry, he probably figured out that like if these other species that we almost put into extinction as a Vulturemite, right? Like if they're able to forgive me from apologizing and taking accountability, then maybe my son would just forgive me as well if I just, you know, apologize first and then ask him to join the battle, right? Obviously, I'm predicting that in the next episode, that's not really gonna work. So what I think is gonna happen is I think Alan is gonna prove once again why he's the MVP in this war. Because I truly believe he's going to play a major role in Mark trusting his father again. Truly, that's probably why he came with him. Because if Nolan went by himself, like, this would be a whole emergency crisis type of moment. Mark would have already jumped up to the sky, grabbed his father by the neck, potentially, especially the way he's been moving this season. But speaking of crisis, let me go to Cecil real fast. Bro. Cecil, every Vulturemite has been able to enter Earth without any detection. Like, what's going on, bro? Like, you've been able to detect any other type of danger, anything coming along, anything that's coming to Earth that is potentially dangerous. There's a fraction of danger that the Vulturemites have. But anytime a Vulturemite is coming to Earth is like zero detection. Every time. That's letting me know that they're just not ready for the invasion. Like, Cecil and the others are not ready, because if they could just appear anytime they feel like it with no detection, then they're not ready. But now, here's my predictions to everyone's reaction with Nolan coming back, returning to Earth, seeing everybody again. First things first, Debbie. I feel like that's going to be the most intense, the most anticipated, other than Mark, of course. And you know what my heart is telling me? You know what I'm feeling right now? I think, or I should say I believe, Debbie still loves Nolan. I believe that. If you're thinking about back in, I forgot which episode it was, but when Oliver was getting his suit, his new hero suit and all that, he was still thinking about Nolan, right? Here's my next piece of evidence. I might be reaching with this one, I understand, but I truly believe that the part of the reason why Debbie is so hesitant to move forward with her relationship with Paul can be due to the fact that Nolan could possibly return to Earth. And because of that possibility, that's what's like kind of making her mind not want to commit too much to this person. Because look, now it's true, like now Nolan is back. What do you think she's gonna feel? Do you think she has no more feelings for this man? Do you truly believe that? Especially since she's raising two individuals that share his DNA, one of them being their child. Like, that's too much. I feel like that's too much. I feel like every time she sees Oliver, every time she sees Mark, and she sees them every single day, it reminds her of Nolan. Like, these are his kids. So Nolan is the missing link to complete the family unit, if you're thinking logically, right? And sure, Paul is cool, but what did Oliver say in this episode? He's nice, but boring. And sorry, Paul, like when people say that, that means you're in the category of nice guys finish last. And heck, we don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna prove me wrong this season. maybe that statement is going to be proven wrong and Debbie's going to choose Paul regardless of what happens. Regardless of Nolan's character development, if he's new and improved, he apologized, say sorry, even if Mark and Oliver trust him, believing in him, like, you know, maybe, but there is going to be some conflict. There is. It's going to be a triangle for sure. And I don't think Nolan's going to back down against a guy named Paul. You know what I'm saying? Because you also have to remember too is, I forgot what it was. I think it was the end of season 2, right? Something like that. Where Nolan was like, I miss my wife. And once a man misses his wife or anything, his kids, he's going to go get them. He's going to go get them. So he's just claiming what's rightfully his. As you can obviously tell, I'm rooting for Nolan. I'm sorry, Paul, but like Oliver said, like Nolan's just a cooler guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is why bad boys win. Jesus Christ. I'm just like vouching for that case. Also, like I said, like Nolan is nicer now. Like he improved. He's a good guy now, technically. But yeah, speaking of Oliver, that's going to be the most interesting reaction is Oliver's. Because I don't know how he's going to react. Like, that's the one where I have the least amount of evidence. Like, you know, there's nothing you could really point back to other than, like, him being a baby. Like, sure, back in season 3, if Nolan came to Earth in season 3, then I could easily predict what Oliver would have probably reacted. Especially since he was more acting like his Vulture father at that time. And he really wanted to see his father, especially back in season 3. But now, since it's been a couple months since then and he's a little bit older and grown, I don't know. He hasn't really talked much about, you know, seeing his father again, anything like that. So I don't know. Maybe those feelings he just buried deep down and is going to resurface when he sees Nolan again. I'd like to see what Nolan's reaction going to be seeing Oliver and him having powers as well. That's also another interesting point. Obviously, as a Vulture father, he's going to be very proud. Maybe he's going to put him through the test like he did Mark, right? Just to prove that he's an adult. But yeah, there's just so much to think about and so much to look forward to just from Nolan appearing on Earth now. Like I said earlier, Alan is going to have to be the peacemaker of all of this. He has to be. So you let me know, like, which person are you looking forward to Nolan seeing again, having an interaction with? Is it Oliver? Is it Debbie? Maybe for some of us is Cecil. Of course, for a lot of us is Mark. For me, I'll say is Debbie. I'm looking forward to seeing that the most. Is he going to get his wife back? Is he going to claim his kids again? You know, that's really what I'm looking forward to. Because of course, like, we know that Mark is going to participate in the war against the Vulturemites. And of course, his brother as well, like Oliver, is going to participate in the war as well. Only big question mark is Debbie, like the mother, her feelings, like what that dynamic is going to be like. Can they even at least be friends, you know? That's probably what's going to happen. Like, it's probably going to start off like, no, sorry, maybe we could just be friends, whatever, blah, 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 until one day next season, Paul catches them together. You know what I'm saying? That's probably what's going to happen. Like, Nolan's probably going to play the whole friend role, quote unquote, until one day, you know, something happens, emotions flare up, you know, things happen. But yeah, that's probably the most interesting part for me, because that's the hardest one to predict, other than Oliver's reaction. But since we know he participates in the war, at least we know there's going to be some sort of forgiveness there. So yeah, you let me know your thoughts. What do you think is going to be happening in the next episode? I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. Yes, I'm going to be talking about everything else that happened in this episode, because there was some bars that were spit in this episode, like about good and evil, heaven and hell, heaven and earth, and all that. Like, there's some gems in there where during the conversation with Mark and the demon, like, is it Damien? He was spitting some gems, and that's probably what helped Mark feel better in the first place, is him accepting that fact and reality. I don't know. We'll see. I have to think about it more, about what he was saying to Mark, because I know he was spitting game and he was telling him some truths, but I really gotta dissect it and really get an understanding of what he was trying to say. So yeah, that's probably gonna be my next video. So yeah, it's time for war. It's time for the battle against the Viltrumites. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. And we'll see when the war actually starts. Because this has been anticipated since like season 2. So yeah, you leave your comment section down below. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.